Hey everyone, it's Blake, and this is episode number 9 of our WWE 2021 save in TEW 2020. I would highly suggest, if you have not watched the previous 8, that is probably going to be required viewing before we jump into this particular SmackDown because you will have no idea of our previous storylines and such. But go back, watch those, and yes, it's been very fun thus far. Here as we go into episode number 9, this is our 3rd edition of SmackDown. We've already done 3 editions of Raw. So let's jump into SmackDown here, and we will start with the pre-show where we have a tag team match. The Viking Raiders get the win over Dio Madden and Jackson Riker. Looks like a nice little tag team specialist bonus for the Viking Raiders. No big surprise there. But as mentioned on the previous episode of SmackDown, we changed Dio Madden from Mace. We want nothing to do with Retribution. We've also seen Shane Thorne, who was Slapjack. He has also changed back to actually being Shane Thorne. So no Retribution if you're looking for that. This is probably not the series for you. They are not in here. But the Viking Raiders build a little bit of, a win total here for them. They've won a couple matches, I think, to this point. So the Viking Raiders get the win here on the pre-show. And we also have a pre-show match here as the women's tag team champions. Natalya and Tamina get the win by disqualification after Eva Marie gets disqualified while fighting Natalya. This was we set this up as a DQ finish for a reason. It'll start to make more sense why that is here in the coming weeks. But I mean, a 49 overall, not great, not bad. I forgot we do still have Reginald working as Nia Jax's manager, I think. So that helps, I guess, because he's doing good, and Tamina still being in great form, amazing form, actually. Meanwhile, Nia not in so great form, but Eva getting better at her gimmick. So these are, it's an interesting women's division on SmackDown. We talked about it in the Raw women's division. There's just not a lot of numbers. I think our SmackDown women's division, we have some numbers, but there's still a lot we have to figure out. And of course, Natalya and Tamina, they float back and forth because they're the tag team champions. So we're still working through some things, I'd say, with the women's division on SmackDown. But we have some ideas in place, and you will start to see some of those ideas here in the coming months. So the champions win by DQ here, and now we head into the main show, which is going to start off with a big particular segment that is going to recap what has been going on with Roman Reigns. And this is the big storyline we're running. Roman Reigns demanding him. We don't know who him is, but Roman Reigns has made that demand now on 2 episodes of SmackDown. First, he made it to Vince McMahon. Then he made it to our new SmackDown general manager, Mick Foley, who was announced last week as the new GM. Roman Reigns wasted no time demanding that him be delivered to him. And so this is just a big recap to kind of set the stage for something we have coming up later on in this episode. So Roman Reigns, still, the demands are there, and this sort of recaps everything we've seen thus far with Roman Reigns' demands. And our first match on the show, Shayna Baszler gets the win over Mia Yim. Yes, once again, no Retribution. She is not going to be reckoning, or it's just not happening. So Mia Yim, though, loses here, but the main focus of this was we get Shayna Baszler a win. Not a great rating. But that's okay. Shayna Baszler gets the win, but we want to actually, we're focusing it to where Shayna Baszler, who has been pretty dominant thus far, we're establishing her as just a dominant, aggressive heel. So we're going to turn Mia Yim face in the process because I know we could wait longer to do this, but again, she was set as a heel because she was in Retribution. We changed all that. So we're going to go ahead and change everything here. She gets very good. She's now a woman on a mission. So she changes her gimmick away from whatever it was before, and it looks like the turn was actually a complete success. So positive there. Mia Yim, someone else we can certainly work with in the women's division on SmackDown, but we did want to make that a name. So there was two objectives here. Make Shayna Baszler a dominant badass, which she has been thus far, and we wanted to get Mia Yim to the babyface side of things, and we did that here. So we'll take it. And that leads us into a promo that we have Pat McAfee, who we're using as our interviewer, interviewing Damian Priest. If you remember, Priest was attacked by Baron Corbin last week after his match, and basically Damian Priest has a message for Baron Corbin to always be looking around the corner now for him, because he is out to find and pretty much, give Baron Corbin what he gave him a week ago. And so a nice little rating here. Would have liked it to be better. 59 is okay, but we still have to build up Damian Priest a bit. I'm not sure exactly what his overness is at this point, but we still got some stuff we can do with Damian Priest to build him up. But McAfee doing good here, going off script. So this was kind of setting up, furthering the Baron Corbin hates people like Damian Priest storyline that we started on last week's episode. And that leads us into another promo here. Pat McAfee is just like, he's in the Mean Gene role, where you have one wrestler come in and then you have another one come in right after that. Jinder Mahal also had something to say, and Jinder decides that he's gonna sort of taunt Drew McIntyre. McIntyre got the win last week. Remember, it's sort of a surprisingly good match. But this one gets a 62, and Jinder's just sort of basically saying that some things have to change now after he lost that match to Drew McIntyre. Once again, Pat McAfee, great job improvising. Jinder, not so well going off script, but we wanted to kind of keep it this way because we knew Pat was going to be better in that particular scenario. It probably deserved better color commentary because Pat was not on color commentary. So it was just Michael Cole solo here. But so this is Jinder saying things have to change now. Something has to change. And he's kind of taunting Drew McIntyre based off of his loss last week. So Jinder feels like something has to change for him moving forward after losing to his former 3MB teammate there. And Baron Corbin, who Damian Priest was talking about earlier, gets a win. This one goes 10-14 over Otis. 57 was certainly not expecting a 5-star classic from these two, but this just further establishes sort of our new Baron Corbin direction. He's not King Corbin like he was. We've established him back as Baron Corbin. And so this just established that's a little bit more. Not a terrible match here. Solid, I think, overall, but just gives Baron Corbin more momentum here as he pushes forward. And let's see if he has anything else in mind, because Baron Corbin goes right out of the ring. He goes to the back, looking around, wondering if Damian Priest is around the corner, figuring Priest is going to come out and attack him afterwards. That doesn't happen, but as soon as Baron Corbin goes through the back, we get the camera and Damian Priest is there, and we've got a full-on brawl between Damian Priest and Baron Corbin. 61 here, gets the crowd hotter. That's good. Also advances our storyline, gains some heat. So all three positives here, I think, based on how we played this. It just gets Damian Priest, as we said earlier. I know it was not that long ago, but Damian Priest wanted to plant that in Baron Corbin's mind before the match, that he would be there. And, you had Baron Corbin a little bit paranoid during the match, but finally thinking that Priest was not going to be there, he goes to the back, and boom, there he is, Damian Priest. So we get a good brawl here between these two. So obviously that's going to lead to something in the future with these two, but at least we are gaining heat with this particular storyline with Damian Priest and Baron Corbin. And Apollo Crews back on the mic. He's continued. He's done this 3 straight weeks now. This guy just pumping himself up, talking about how he's the greatest Intercontinental Champion ever. And he's actually going to put his Intercontinental Championship on the line next week in a match against Cedric Alexander. Apollo wants to show that he's a fighting champion, and so he will step into the ring next week. We've got an Intercontinental title match against Cedric Alexander on SmackDown. So Apollo's gift to the people is him actually wrestling, and so he continues to play the heel that he is. So this was another promo here from Apollo. And we go to another match here on the card. 66 overall. Drew McIntyre defeats Elias. Looks like this is a pairing we will be staying away from, because Drew McIntyre and Elias do not click and clearly have no chemistry together. So not necessarily what we wanted there, but still, to not have chemistry and get a 66, it's fine. As you can probably see, there was very little chance Elias was going to win this match. This just adds for Drew McIntyre another victory. We heard Jinder kind of talking about him a little earlier, but Drew gets another win to add, and he is still on his mission to be the person that dethrones Roman Reigns as the Universal Champion. So Drew McIntyre picks up another victory here on SmackDown, and we'll see what's next for McIntyre here moving forward. And that leads us into a segment here with Mick Foley and Charlotte Flair. Gets a 69. Nice. Advance the storyline. Charlotte Flair wants the SmackDown Women's title. Charlotte struggled to go off script, but, once again, you have one of those scenarios where I probably could have scripted them both and it would have been fine, but it is what it is. But Mick Foley does tell Charlotte that she's been calling out Bianca Belair, wanting that SmackDown Women's title, almost thinking that it is rightfully hers. Well, she's not the number one contender because Foley tells her that next week Charlotte's going to face Asuka in a number one contenders match for the SmackDown Women's title. So Charlotte has been set up the past couple weeks thinking she's going to be the one that is guaranteed the title shot against Bianca Belair at an upcoming show. That's not the case because Mick Foley tells her she's got to actually fight for it, and they will do so next week, her and Asuka. So a nice number one contenders match set up next week. So we've got Apollo Crews defending the IC title, number one contenders match on the women's side. So a couple good matches already in store for next week. But our SmackDown general manager, Mick Foley, making his presence felt here by giving out some direction. And Charlotte Flair probably not too happy that she's going to have to go through Asuka to get her shot at Bianca Belair. And speaking of Bianca Belair, we go straight from the Mick Foley telling her that to really hype up our women's champion. Gets a 62. We probably could have, done a generic Bianca promo or something, but we did that last week as well. So just another sort of highlight video showing the feats and skills of Bianca Belair. She is our champion, and she is the one that will probably have her eye on that match between Charlotte and Asuka next week. So our champion gets her a nice little segment here to hype up all her accomplishments thus far as SmackDown Women's Champion. And we go to another match on the card here, 66 overall. Kofi Kingston gets the win over Jim Uso in 14-15, hits the Trouble in Paradise. This advances the storyline. Of course, we've got the triple threat match coming up at King of the Ring for the undisputed WWE Tag Team titles, the New Day, the Usos, and the Street Profits from Raw. So we wanted to get these two continue to kind of interact with each other, and that's what we get here with Kofi getting the singles win over Jimmy Uso. And that's going to actually be the first of a couple of segments with these two, as after the match, the Usos not happy about Kofi's victory, and they hit the ring, attack the New Day, and leave them out laying, and that also advances our storyline here with the Undisputed Tag titles. So back-to-back segments, 66 for the match, 68 for the angle here. We'll take that. That works, and it's just building that momentum, building that tension, heading into that big triple threat match at King of the Ring for the titles. So the Usos get the better of them after the match. The New Day get the better of them during the match. So kind of things are a little bit evened out here as we are now, only after this we'll be one SmackDown away from King of the Ring. So really setting up the hatred and the tension between the Usos and the New Day heading into that match. And a big-time promo here from Seth Rollins at 91. Terrific. Seth Rollins getting better at his gimmick. Of course, the improvise. This guy cuts a great promo here. He has been on fire thus far. And Seth Rollins has been fantastic these first several weeks in pretty much all of his segments. But this is probably his best thus far. He gets a 91 for this promo. Pretty much, talking about how he's going to win the King of the Ring. He's already bought a crown. King Rollins is going to be what everyone's going to be talking about after King of the Ring. And so he is one of the 4 from SmackDown that will be in action at King of the Ring. And as we know, he is going to square off with Ricochet in the first round action, the quarterfinals. Seth Rollins versus Ricochet. And so Rollins really promoting himself and talking about how he's going to be the king. He's already bought a crown, all this good stuff. So a fantastic promo here from Seth Rollins. And he will be part of our big main event here, which doesn't do as well as I wanted it to. But I think when you're kind of putting a lot of different people in here and you just want good action. And that's what we got here. Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn, and Mustafa Ali come out on top against Shinsuke Nakamura, Jeff Hardy, and R-Truth. Mustafa Ali pins R-Truth to get the win. Of course, Seth Rollins head and shoulders above everyone else. We've kind of seen that with that last promo. He's fantastic. This does advance the King of the Ring storyline because you do have, you've got 4 guys in here. These 4 right here are all going to be in King of the Ring. That advances that storyline. And, of course, Rollins just above everyone, really shining right now. And that builds up a lot more confidence for him here in our main event. For those 3 in particular, they carry a lot of momentum into King of the Ring here in, less than a week and a half or so. Shinsuke Nakamura is still trying to rebound, but he's got his spot as he'll take on AJ Styles in the quarterfinals of the King of the Ring. So these three in particular get a nice boost of confidence heading into next week's go-home show for King of the Ring. And that leads us to our ending segment here, where it is a freestyle segment we used. Paul Heyman has warned Mick Foley. We started the show off. We had the little highlight package, the recap of everything going on with Roman Reigns, all his demands thus far, and it ends here. So we started the show with the theme, and then we end the show with this theme as well, as Paul Heyman warns Mick Foley that if he does not deliver him to Roman Reigns, there are going to be consequences. Paul did not say anything more than that. He left it very vague. Mick Foley, not someone to back down from anyone. Foley basically said, he's not going to bow down to the demands of Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns. And that led to Heyman just walking off, shaking his head, once again saying there will be consequences if Roman Reigns does not get him delivered. So that sets up another teaser for what could be ahead here, as this storyline I think I'm having the most fun with thus far. We've got some good stuff on Raw too. The Edge and Orton and all that I think is fun as well. But this has been fun to kind of keep building this up. Hopefully I know what direction it's going to go in, but I think we've got something really good in mind here for where we want this to go. But it's 83 here. We would have even taken a little bit higher, but we're not gonna argue with an 83. But this does advance the storyline. Roman Reigns wants him, and of course with these two, you're gonna get great from improvisation with what they can do on the mic. So a great job here. Advances the storyline, no doubt. Just giving it more heat and everything. That's what we want. We're really building this up as the biggest storyline in our company right now. And for Paul Heyman, saying there are going to be consequences if Mick Foley does not deliver on Roman Reigns' demand. So we will see if Mick Foley can come through and do that. But for now, another solid edition of SmackDown gets a 74. That's right on par, I think, with what we've had the last 2 or 3 shows, I think, really on Raw and SmackDown. So we've really started building momentum after those first couple of shows were just complete. They weren't great, but the last several have been really good. I think we've got a structure in place that's working. We've got some great storylines, and I think that everything's starting to come together. Once we get to that first pay-per-view, I think you'll see that's where a lot of things are going to start to sort of begin with some of these storylines. But we've got some stuff, too, on these TV shows. We're trying to build it to where some of these TV shows are kind of must-see. You've kind of seen what we've done on Raw. We built up some big matches. Kevin Owens versus Sheamus, that was a big main event. We got a big main event on the next edition of Raw, Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio, and SmackDown. Apollo Crews going to be defending his title. We've also got some other stuff, in the works for tonight. We got Charlotte Flair and Asuka. So we're trying to build up matches for the following week. So we're not just going into it announcing, matches 2 hours before. You're not just finding out matches. Trying to give you something that fans are going to enjoy, and I think that's what we're doing here. So we got some good momentum here as a company. Even though we fell back to medium size. So we're making up ground here, and we are one step closer to King of the Ring. So a nice 74 here for this particular show. I thought it really came together very well, and now we will see if there's any news items, anything like that we need to address before we wrap up this episode. So once again, we do have news, and you will not be surprised by which brand it involves. NXT, as you've seen on previous videos, Triple H has come out of retirement. He has pretty much boasted about himself, which has caused chaos in the NXT locker room. And now, one of the things that I forgot to bring up, it was after SmackDown, it went into, I guess, Saturday. So it happened before SmackDown, apparently, was that New Japan has declared war on NXT. AEW has declared war on NXT. NXT has declared war on AEW. So, all chaos. I mean, it's just, NXT has become the chaos brand. Like, at one point, I thought NXT was, going to be, our just very calm developmental system, not have to worry about a whole lot. Well, there is just all kinds of stuff going on in NXT right now. We might have to make this a regular part of the videos moving forward, just to, tracking NXT may be a video in and of itself, because there is a lot happening with this brand at the moment. We have now got a full-scale war between New Japan, NXT, and NXT and AEW. So who knows what's going to happen here with this particular brand at this point. As we said, Triple H did come out of retirement, so he is considered one of the major stars. And I mean, he's the owner, he's the booker, all this stuff. But when you look at the relationships of NXT right now, I mean, we know with AEW, there's a very negative relationship. New Japan also at war. So we're at war NXT-wise with AEW and New Japan. Obviously, we're not, everything's fine with us and NXT UK, but it's something right now on NXT. I'm not really sure what to make of it. I don't think Triple H has won the title yet. I could be wrong, but I tell you, this is getting interesting with NXT. So that is something we will continue to look at moving forward. NXT, everything is wild. Let's see if there's any. We have Triple H and Finn Balor feud going on. Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, and then we've got other feuds as well. But right now, NXT is become the news brand after Raw, where we had Bobby Lashley retiring. We had Nikki Cross getting pregnant. But NXT has kind of taken over in terms of everything that's going on right now with this. So that is the news update for now. And as we know, we are now one episode each, Raw and SmackDown, away from King of the Ring. And the next edition will be Raw, unless something goes down on Sunday that we have to do a separate thing for. And if it is, it'll probably involve NXT based on what we've seen thus far. But that was SmackDown, and again, Raw and SmackDown, and then King of the Ring. So King of the Ring, a couple episodes away here on the series. And as always, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe, share, like, all that good stuff. Again, once again, I really appreciate the good feedback. It's really a lot of fun to do this, and I think as we're seeing, the most fun part for me is not just doing the storylines and putting everything together and seeing how it does, but it's also seeing what the game throws at you. And as we've seen thus far, we've had our WWE champion announce his retirement in several months. Triple H has come out of retirement to basically take over NXT. It's crazy, but this is the game, and this is what makes it fun. So on the next episode, it will be the Go Home Raw before King of the Ring. And as we mentioned, we do have our main event, Randy Orton versus Rey Mysterio. So coming up on the next episode will be WWE Raw.